Good day, everyone. Once again, I hope you're doing well. We are continuing our special episodes in Lisbon, Portugal, to talk about the Golden Visa program. And because we are special, and because we are in a special city, and because we are in a special country, we always have our episodes with the special people. And today we're talking about legality, and with a very reputable lawyer in Lisbon, Teirsou. Thank you for being here, and thank you for scheduling. I know that you have a very tough time with back-to-back meetings, but dedicating the time to us, I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Tony. For me, it's a pleasure to be part of this episode, and I really appreciate you coming over to Portugal and spending some time with us.
So if we talk about once we submit the application for the immigration authority, is there any chances for the application to be rejected, or what is the percentage, if we can call it, for rejection and approval?
Let me tell you my experience, okay? So I never got a rejection since we started working with the program since 2012-13, okay? Let me just add that.
That's the beauty of the program, to be honest, because I always say that as long as your documents are in proper shape, what of the requirements, and then even of course the investment is in the correct way, then there is no even reason to refuse the application.
That is correct, Tony, and it's a very good point. So there is no discretionary vetting on the person once all the documentation has been submitted and complies with the requirements, okay? So I would say that is a matter of formality and complying with formalities, okay? And if that is done, I wouldn't see any problem of rejections.
Great. So we got approval, whether 6 months or whether 1 year, 1 year and a half, it depends on the process now and so on. If I'm holding a passport that requires a visa, I think I need to apply for the visa, right? Like to come to do the biometrics, right?
Correct. So if you don't have a passport that allows you to visa-free into Portugal, you will need to obtain a Schengen visa. Okay, that Schengen visa is normally obtained with the consulate of Portugal in the country where you live. Okay,
and then I guess that, like from your firm, there will be a letter saying that, stating,
correct,
this matter, and this is what is the reason of traveling to Portugal.
Correct. So we would do a supporting letter explaining that there is a reason and there is an appointment with immigration for that person to get the Schengen visa.
Got it. So the do the person need to come alone, or he need to come with all the family, or he need to come with just certain age of the family members?
Well, it really depends. Only the family members that have the appointment are required to come.
Okay.
And it might happen, it happened also in full transparency, that the main applicant might not have an appointment at the exact same day as the spouse or the children.
Okay.
Normally it happens, but it might happen.
Okay, so the appointments, it's individually been scheduled, let's say, from the immigration authority. Like, do you have the option to choose, or it can come from the authority that you have the appointment on this date?
Nowadays, it's the authority that will give you a fixed date to come to the appointment.
I see. And then even the young ones, let's say, if I have a child for 1 year old or 2 years old, and he has the appointment, he need to come to do the biometric? Is there a requirement for biometric for the kids?
Yes.
So even if I have 1 month old baby?
Well, everyone needs to come to the biometrics. Of course, they might not sign and do the
absolutely,
and so on.
They might just smile to the immigration authority.
But it's like, for example, if you have a 6-month kid and you want to take his passport for him to travel, let's say passport, he needs to go to
through the process. Yeah. Okay, great. And then with this biometric, let's say once it has been done, and then how long or how fast the residency card will be issued?
Well, normally it's taking around 6 months. It's taking as well some time, to be issued. But I can see that lately we've been receiving cards faster, and it also depends on the delegation, on the immigration delegation where you did your biometrics.
I see.
There are some that are faster than others. Okay?
Based on the maybe backlogs or the workflow.
So for example, the one in Lisbon might take more time than the one in Porto or
Yes.
Coimbra.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. So the moment you receive the residency card, will it be, let's say, the date of issuance? Is it the same day of once you receive the actual card, or maybe like 2 days back, or 1 month back, or 6 months back? How this normally processed?
It's at the time that they issue the card. Okay.
Okay.
So it's basically that. So it's not at the time that we did the submission of
Yes.
the application.
Okay. So let's say that the card is published today, or got printed today.
Yeah.
Then I believe then just next day will be delivered, or they won't wait for 1 month or 2 months, let's say, for the process to receive the actual card.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's
Maybe 1 day.
correct. Correct.
Okay, great.
Once issued.
And the residency card will be valid for the first one?
The first one will be valid for 2 years.
2 years.
Okay. And then 3.
Okay.
2, 3, 3. No, the golden visa. Well, depends on the visa.
That's the thing. Yes.
So because if we are talking about what the
golden visa,
it's 2 years.
2 years. The first residency card will be valid for 2 years.
Correct.
And then
2 years.
Okay. And then so every 2 years you have to renew your residency card.
Correct.
And you need to come to do the biometric again.
You need to come to do your biometric again. This is something that changed during COVID, that it was an automatic renewal.
Okay.
Okay, so people didn't need to come to Portugal, but now they need to come to Portugal. What they say in the latest interpretation of the immigration is that they need to come to Portugal to do that presentially.
I see. And then
that was the case before COVID.
Yes.
During COVID, there was an exception, and now
absolutely. And then every 2 years that I need to renew my residency card, do I need to bring the same documents once again?
Correct. So you will need to basically bring the same documents, resubmit that you did on the first
updated ones, of course.
Correct. Just to show that you're still married with that person, that you don't have a criminal record, that you still maintain your investment, and so on.
Okay, great. And do I believe that I have to stay in the country for every year for some certain days? Do I need to prove it every 2 years when I need to renew the
Correct. For the renewal purposes, this is something that is needed so that you have complied with the minimum period of stay. And again, if it's a golden visa, we are talking about an average of 7 days per year.
Okay, that's nothing. Let's say 7 days per. So I need to provide documents for the 7 days.
Yes.
Once I need to renew the
So it's a matter of evidence as well. So normally what we recommend the clients is if they come to Portugal during those 7 days and they have a hotel reservation, they go and eat in a restaurant, they make purchases in a shop, they would ask the invoice with their Portuguese tax number, which is something very common. If you go now to a shop in Portugal, even for me, they will ask, you want the invoice with your tax number? So it's not something complicated.
Okay.
So they will do it, and it's an evidence. The flight tickets as well, okay? So it's a matter of holding those documents so that we can submit.
The passport stamps in and out, do they consider it as a...
Correct, as well. So it's something that it's important to have and that we will submit and show to the immigration.
Great. So after completing this 5 years, let's say from the date of the first submission of the application, I believe now we will be eligible for applying for the citizenship.
Correct.
The criteria is to be having the, of course, 7 days every year, and then resubmitting the documents again, I believe, right? After 5 years?
For the citizenship?
Yes.
Well, for the citizenship, you don't really need to make the same or the requirement of stay. It's basically showing that through those 5 years, you validly hold your visa. So,
okay.
So this is a statement that we will have saying that that person from the immigration was a resident in Portugal from 2020 to 2025.
I see. So for applying for to the citizenship, they don't ask you to prove that you've been 7 days every year.
No.
Okay.
Because that is already understood. If you have a certificate that shows that you comply with the 5 years residency, it means that for that you did your 7 days.
You match you fulfill the requirements.
Exactly.
So and do you need to submit the marriage certificate, police clearances, and so on?
Well, police clearance, yes. Marriage certificate, no, because the citizenship application is an independent application.
Exactly. Okay, so it's individual process for everyone. So if the main applicant maybe failed to get the citizenship, maybe because of the language test, the spouse, she's still eligible to get it. The kids are eligible to get it because everything is individually now towards the citizenship.
Correct. I had cases that the husband was not prepared or didn't study the Portuguese language test. That is one of the, let's say, the most well-known requirements.
Of course, why not?
For this, which is A2 level, so we call it elementary Portuguese test, okay? So he was not ready, but the spouse was ready, and she got the language test. So she started her citizenship application, but not the husband.
I see.
It's okay.
And even also, let's assume that they have also parents above 65 or below 65, no matter what. And then even also for the kids, do they need also to pass the language test?
They need to pass the language test. Okay.
So if I have a one-year-old, for example, child, as example, no, we cannot call it because something that the people maybe they know, maybe they don't know. If you fulfill that the residency of Portugal for 2 years, the golden visa or for all the visas, by the way, for the new baby. Okay. So if you are a resident of Portugal for 2 years as a minimum, one of the main applicant or spouse, and then the baby was born in Portugal, will be automatically Portuguese.
Yes, he can apply for a Portuguese citizenship as well.
Direct.
So for someone that has been a resident in Portugal and and the kid was born in Portugal, he can apply for Portuguese citizenship.
Directly.
It can also, another option is one of the parents gets the Portuguese citizenship.
Directly, yeah.
And the kid was not born in Portugal, but he can apply for Portuguese citizenship through the parents. That's something really important. Can we do it again? Can we repeat it again? Yes. For someone, for example, a golden visa investor that got his Portuguese passport, okay, and then eventually he has a child, okay, he's a minor, and very attention, cannot be over age, minor, so under 18, he can apply for Portuguese passport through the parents.
Oh, okay, okay. Regardless of his place of birth.
Correct.
Okay, great. So let's assume that I have a son, 6-month-old, 1-year-old, and so on. For applying for the citizenship, do he still need to pass the language test? Maybe he cannot speak even.
Correct. So this is something that he will need to do through these techniques that we just mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. Because to apply for Portuguese citizenship through naturalization, that's what we call through a golden visa, you need to be over age as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's good. So let's say that if the main applicant got the citizenship or got naturalized, and then the minors that below 18 will be kind of automatically getting the citizenship without even also passing the language test.
Correct.
If we can call it.
Correct.
So it could be main applicant, could be even also the spouse,
Correct.
could be the husband or the wife.
Correct.
If they pass, then the kids will be automatically getting it without
Correct.
even also through the other route, which is the minor.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So to talk about it from the perspective of obtaining the citizenship, let's say after fulfilling all the requirements, which is just to summarize it, that being 7 days every year, and then even also the passing the language test. I know that there are a third option or third let's say requirement that to prove that you are involved in the society more. Is that true?
Well, this
to
is
prove that you're common with the Portuguese society and so on.
Tony, this is something that may enhance your application, but it's not legally mandatory.
Okay.
Okay. And I had the opportunity to speak about this with a register, well-known register from the north of Portugal that we did talk like we are doing here. And she was very clear, and the law is very clear, that in fact that connection with Portugal is shown in this case by the way you speak the language or speaking the language, and having been a legal resident for 5 years.
I see.
Then if you are a member of a Portuguese club, if did
just adding point, but it is not the major points that to get the application.
Correct.
So coming back about the language test, how can I prove to the authorities, to the immigration authorities, for example, that I can speak basic language of Portugal?
So this is something that is also very clear, okay? So there are qualified and licensed Portuguese institutions that will issue certificates based and after you pass the test, an exam of the A2 couple test that I just mentioned, which is an elementary one, but you will need to pass it in those institutions and they will issue a certificate, and that's...
So basically I'm not gonna have the language test in front of the immigration authorities. I'm gonna have only the certificate from the institutions
I know it happens in other countries, but it's not the case of Portugal.
Okay.
So that is something that is done prior to the submission.
And do I need to speak and listen and read, let's say?
Correct.
And write?
So, yes. So there is 3 parts on that exam. It's a very elementary one, but in fact there is 3 parts.
Okay.
So one is listening to the audio. You do an audio and say, there's a blue bus passing in the street. The color of the bus, blue.
Okay.
And then you will need to write something that's very simple. Write a paragraph, email about your stay in Portugal. And you do. And then an oral part is you have someone there.
Conversation.
And you speak to them. Hello, how are you?
Okay. Is there any other way to get this certificate from the institution without having the language test? I hear that if you fulfill maybe certain hours of getting the language, or teaching or not teaching, getting or attending classes, is that true?
Well, in my opinion, there is always a test involved, to get the official certificate. We will need to see if those institutions that are doing the credit and the hours that you just mentioned, and I'm aware of that as well, are licensed and accredited institutions. If they are, and if they can issue a certificate of couple test A2 level based on those hours, then it should be okay.
Great.
So very important, Tony just said, to have really a license and accredited institution by the government.
Approved by the government, yes, absolutely. So after getting all of these documents, now I'm submitting it, the application for the citizenship to whom? To the same immigration authority, or to?
No. So let's say the golden visa go through the immigration authority that we call it AIMA. AIMA.
Yes, which is the new one after COVID, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
The one that replaced SEF.
Yeah, we call it CEF. We used to call it CEF.
Exactly.
Yes.
The citizenship application is done with the civil registry.
Civil registry, okay.
Another authority, both public authorities, but different.
The person, does he need to, once you submit the application to the civil authority, the main applicant and the family, for example, do they need to come and submit their documents, or you can submit it on their behalf?
No, this is something that is again done through a platform that the lawyer has.
Online?
Yeah, that the lawyer has with the civil registry, and then they can follow. There are 4 stages, and they can follow online the stages where their application is.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the person does not require to be here to submit the documents by himself, it could be through online.
Correct.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So let's talk about the reality now. The program starts in 2012. There are so many people, I believe, that they obtained the citizenship through the golden visa, and maybe some people they are in the pipeline, and some people maybe they got rejected. Can we just talk about this and highlight it? For example, what are the percentage of people they got approved, they got rejected? Just to have this which is very important, because most of the people when they apply, their aim is the citizenship mainly, of course.
Correct. So first of all, let me tell you that the citizenship application is something that takes time as well.
Yes.
It can take at least 2 years. Okay.
At least
2 years.
That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
So you will have the 5 years of holding your visa, plus the time that you start doing your application, doing your test, and at the moment the citizenship is completed, we are talking about 7 years, 8 years, okay?
And during this 7-8 years, I am eligible to renew my residency.
You are.
The 2 years every time until
and I recommend that you do it.
Yes, it has to be. Yes, I agree.
I recommend
lawyers.
That you do it.
I agree. I agree.
So basically, we are talking about the first citizenships, okay, start coming out around 2021, around that time, right? If we do the reasoning that I'm just mentioning, okay, let's say 2013, you put 7 years, 20,
true,
because 2012 it
was
the
COVID.
Late 2012, so the applications that I've submitted with the Portuguese test and following these requirements were accepted. Okay.
Have you had any case that it was like the person fulfilled all the documents or all the requirements, I mean, and then got rejected?
I haven't gone through a case like this. Okay. So and normally I have clients that some of them they prefer to go to the permanent residency and not the citizenship as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because after 5 years you are eligible either to apply directly for the
Correct.
Permanent residency or directly for the citizenship.
Correct.
Let's assume that someone got rejected
yes.
by any reason, and then of course he fulfilled all the requirements. Can we appeal the application?
Can. So normally the rejection or a citizenship rejection is done by the prosecutor, the public prosecutor.
Okay.
Okay. Is something that will pass through him, okay, and it can be rejected. And if that is the case, then we can appeal to the administrative courts in Portugal.
Okay, so the public prosecutor will mention the reason of rejecting the application.
Of course, you need to mention the reason so that we have the grounds to
appeal it.
Them.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty straightforward process. So, what do you advise people in general? Yeah, please.
Let me just add this, unrelated to Golden Visa, but that I've seen before. For example, Portuguese that is married with a foreign person for less, let's say, for 3 years, they can apply for Portuguese citizenship for the wife. Okay. Imagine me, I'm Portuguese and I married someone from, let's say, I don't know,
US,
US.
as example.
For 3 years. After 3 years, that American citizen can apply for Portuguese citizenship through me. Okay.
If living in Portugal or outside Portugal?
That's very important. So here, I saw rejections. Because here, if it's 3 years of marriage, they need to show links to Portugal.
Okay.
That's where your
having
first
ties.
question was.
Yes.
Having ties.
Yes.
And that person didn't have any ties. Okay. So I've seen that, the prosecutor rejecting that because they didn't have ties. But as I mentioned before, this is something that is not required for a golden visa.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely. That's different.
For example, just to finish this reasoning, someone that is married, if I was married to that American person for more than 5 years, okay, I wouldn't need to show, or she doesn't need to show the links to Portugal, the ties to Portugal.
Oh, okay. Even without babies, for example, or maybe both of them living
correct
in 2 different countries. Sometimes it happens.
Don't need. As long as I'm married to her for more than that time, 5 years, I'm entitled to that.
Okay, maybe the people who's like watching this episode, they may look for spouses now to marry.
yes. Then we need to see. There's also the possibility if someone brings up the argument that is a fake marriage.
Oh yeah, of course, okay. Absolutely. That's so true. And then even also the government always check up and change the law very frequent with this, because there are some people, I can call them that they are abusing the rights of the others to obtain the citizenship or not. The last thing we need to talk about the other options of the golden visa, not the golden visa, but other options of residency in Portugal. If we can just have a highlight of it, and then of course later on we will talk about it in way detailed information. So everybody talks about D2, D7, and D8. So are they also let's say if you fulfill the requirements, you are eligible to get the citizenship after some requirements and criteria. So if we can just talk about them, each one maybe like 1 minute.
Okay, so maybe we'll focus just if it's only 1 minute on the D2 and D7, let's say the most popular.
Yes.
D2 is an entrepreneur visa. Okay, so you need to show that you want to start a business in Portugal or to continue the business that you have outside Portugal in Portugal. Okay, you will need to show a business plan and something that is structured and solid. And you will need to fulfill also some financial requirements to show that you have sufficient means of subsistence in Portugal. The D7 is a passive income visa that you will need to show that you have passive income equivalent to a certain amount of money, which is the minimum salary in Portugal, around 1,000 euro, 870 euros to be more precise. Per month, and you need to show that you have a bank account with sufficient means of subsistence as well, which is pretty much 2 years of minimum salary, and then if you have a spouse, 50% of that amount, and for the children, 30% of that amount. All these visas, and I would say the D7 is passive income that is generated from rentals, from financial investment, from intellectual property, and so on. These visas, after 5 years, you are also entitled to apply for Portuguese citizenship.
If I stay 7 days every year?
No. So this is more strict because these are visas that require you to stay at least 6 consecutive months in Portugal or 8 non-consecutive months in Portugal per year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so these D2 or D7, if you want to be eligible for let's say for the citizenship after 5 years, you have to show proof either you're continuing staying 6 months or 8 months per year.
Correct, correct. So
even to renew the residency, I believe.
To renew these visas, so that is every 3 years, okay, you will need to show that you have fulfilled this requirement.
I see.
Minimum stay.
I see, and of course passing the language test, and then even also these are the requirements for the citizenship as well.
The same.
The same.
For the citizenship.
But instead of 7 days, it's going to be 6 months or 8 months based on.
Correct. That is for the renewal of the visa itself, and for the citizenship, if you had the valid D2 or D7 for 5 consecutive years, you can apply with the language test.
Finishing this second episode, which is really wanted to even also to go more, what is the common mistake that the people come and approach you after doing some like big mistakes, let's say?
When they want to apply for a golden visa?
Yes, or the D2 or D7 as example.
Well, sometimes, and let's just take the example of the D visas, is people that they think that there is flexibility granted by law that they might not need to stay here for the 6 months or the 8 non-consecutive months per year, which is incorrect. According to the law, these are 2 different visas. So the D visas were created in 2007, the golden visa in 2012, with different objectives and different requirements.
And if, sorry to cut you off, but in case if I don't stay for 6 months or 8 months per year, my visa will not be renewed.
It will not be renewed in principle. You can always submit a justification why you did not fulfill those temporal requirements. It might be acceptable or not by the immigration department. The golden visa is completely different. It offers a flexibility that the other visas don't grant, and it's the uniqueness of the Portuguese golden visa, and that's why it's so powerful among the immigration visa on investments worldwide, because it's more flexible in terms of minimum periods of stay, and it effectively leads to a citizenship under certain formal requirements.
Okay, great. We've had, insightful and detailed information that I'm sure that it is not written in anywhere in the whole internet, let's say worldwide, with this type of talk. So I really thank you for that. What is the last piece of advice that you want to give to our people who they are watching this episode?
Okay, so I would say that it's very important that they work with service providers in the side of the investment and on the legal side that are reliable and
Yes.
that can provide reliable information and that experience in the process, so that they know exactly what documents need to be done, what is the investment type, so that there's no hiccups throughout the process and that everything is streamlined. When I say experienced service provider, that are experienced in this field, in
Sure.
the immigration and in the visas. They've done hundreds of applications that came through different types of circumstances and that have handled different types of investors from different jurisdictions.
Great.
So I would say that this is a key point, and that you work with someone that you trust as well, because this is a long process. As you know, it's 5 years plus 2, so you really need to choose a service provider that you feel comfortable, that you trust, and that is experienced.
That's great. So I thank you for that. So now, dear Teirsou, what do you tell our people to come to Portugal? How do you encourage them to come to Portugal?
Well, Portugal, as you know, is a beautiful country. You've been
Amazing.
here for a couple of days. You've been here, and you've been here for a long time also before. Portugal has a very powerful cultural and historical heritage, which is very important, has a beautiful lifestyle.
True.
In terms of food, weather, temperature. It's close by healthy environments like beaches and so on. And it's something that is very important for not only the generations of the main applicants, but also for the millennials, so the next generation that value a lot this lifestyle, cultural heritage and networking that Portugal has to offer.
That's a great, and I really recommend, and I highly recommend, whoever have the chance to visit Lisbon and Portugal to come and explore the country by themselves. Like, this is one of the very unique cities, mainly Lisbon, that I can walk without any fear. I don't see anything. It is one of the very safest cities and safest countries in the world. The population is 11 million, right? In the whole Portugal. In Lisbon, it's just 900, or almost like, let's say, less than a million.
Exactly.
I don't see traffic, by the way.
No, there is none. Actually,
where else in Europe that in the capital of a country that you don't see traffic?
It's something that really we have infrastructures that also work well and that under expansion, and we already know that because Portugal, and it's a key point as well, we are very welcoming for foreigners.
That's so true.
We have done it
and
all
everybody
our
speaks English here. That's the best thing ever. That's the best thing ever.
That's very important. Even older people, they know how to speak English and they are very welcoming. And
that's so true. So everyone who's watching this episode, I really thank you for watching it, and I hope that you have all the questions that answered at the moment. If you have any questions, you can just easily contact us, and then we will, of course, we'll answer in a legal way and very professional way. See you tuned. Cheers.